Okay, welcome to Drake's Dungeon. It's been quite literally 2 years since we've done one of these. Probably more than 2 years since we've done a Drake's Dungeon. Obviously, it's been a while, so let me recap you guys on what the heck is Drake's Dungeon for anybody who hasn't listened before. This will be the show where I get to sit down with somebody from the War Commander team, and we kind of just talk about the game, talk about what that person does on the game, and we try to talk a little bit about things that are going to be happening either presently and in the future of the game. Just as a reason why we haven't done one of these in 2 years is because I've been working on 2 different games. I've been working on both this and Battle Pirates, and actually starting at the end of this month, I will be back to just doing this game, just doing War Commander. So it's going to give me a lot more time to do cool, fun things like this, along with cool other fun things that we're doing in the community. Like contests are back again. We have trivia contests. We have Player of the Month if you're over on our Discord. So I encourage you guys to, if you haven't been to the Discord in a while, to hop on back to the Discord and just participate in some of these things. You'll get cool free stuff. We give out gold. We give out upgrade tokens, or upgrade logistics, I should say, to be more specific, and all that kind of fun stuff. And we're, doing lots of fun things on our social media. So I'll include links to at the bottom of the video for all the social medias that you can follow. And we're going to have plenty of other cool things on the horizon, like more, lore posts and things along that line, which, I'll have a lot more time to do the fun things I love doing now. And that's very exciting. And so without further ado, I would like to bring on a longtime Drake's Dungeon guest. You know him as the head of design, the lead designer for War Commander, young Russell. Welcome back after a 2-year hiatus.
Hello, Drake. It's good to see you again, and it's good to be back.
Well, it's good to hear you. I don't want to mislead our audience. We're not seeing each other. We're in different locations, actually. I don't want to lie to our audience, young Russell. Can we make that clear? Can we?
That's true.
Can we stop? The buck stops here, folks. That's
true. We are between nations, in fact.
Yeah, we're not even in the same country.
International, baby.
Yeah, I for those players who don't know, I am in the United States of America, and young Russell is in our great nation to the north, the Canadas, where the maple syrup flows like wine. It can't really flow like wine. It's kind of a thicker substance, isn't it?
Yeah, that is true, but we do drink it like wine.
That is true. You sit down with your poutine and a fine glass of maple syrup.
Yeah.
We do the same here. It's usually just we just have the French fries, the burger instead of poutine, but we wash it down with some kind of carbonated beverage or beer. You guys have a lot of beer up there too, though. So.
Oh yeah, better beer.
Yeah, I hear that. Well, we've had a lot of things that have happened in the last month or so, young Russell, that we want to talk about. And I'm going to get right in it. I'm going to ask you the hard-hitting questions that War Commander players demand answers on. You thought you were coming in for a friendly conversation. You're not. You're here for a civil conversation that could be interpreted as friendly.
Oh boy.
But no, let's talk about the new buildings, okay? We had CC20 that just came out at the end of August, and in it, we had the new construction yard and the agency. Tell us a little bit about what, from a design standpoint, what are these new buildings about? What can we do with them? And what are the future plans with them? Like, obviously, we don't just introduce something without having a thing in mind. So hit us with that first, young Russell.
So, yeah, there are 2 buildings that I'm really excited about because they offer us future design potential. Obviously, with the construction yard, it will allow us to offer players the ability to almost sort of block off certain areas of their base. Eventually, the idea is that with enough of these and with the right ones, you can funnel your enemy into areas of your base that are better defended. And so it allows a bit more agency over where players build their turrets and build their defenses. And speaking of agency, that's actually my favorite one of the two. This is our way of offering tech for buildings. We didn't want to add a system that requires players to buy a specific piece of tech for every single building in the game. So what we decided to do is divide the buildings into certain departments that made sense, and then offer agents or contractors that could fit into one of those departments. There are multiple types of contractors based off of what type of thing they do. The current most frequent one is the architect type. These ones usually offer extra defenses for certain buildings, but we're going to be offering more and more different types of ones in the future. The exciting thing is that as we can spend more time doing it, we're able to get a more and more robust system put in place so that we can offer more interesting types of tech other than just base defense bonuses.
Yeah, not a buff, not just a buff, but some of their cool kind of feature.
Yeah, exactly. We have a long list of things that we would like, and we're just working with obviously the engineers to make some of those things happen. But like with anything, we want to make sure it is working the way we want to do before we ship it. So you'll probably see a lot of different types of engineers and different types of not engineers, sorry, contractors coming out in the future, and each one will hopefully have a very different use case. But ideally, you'll have eventually almost like a customized deck of cards that you can choose 8 from and really customize how you defend your base, and how you set it up in different ways. So the choice will be in the player's hand as to how they set it up. And we're hoping that eventually, as we offer more and more things, that players can find really, really cool ways of interacting with these and combining them together. So that's what I'm excited for.
Yeah, and you can unlock just by putting the buildings. You already have ones you can unlock in there, but with the last couple events, with last month's event and the event starting up, well, actually, by the time this goes live, it'll already be live. There'll be new ones to unlock. So can we expect like over the next couple months, like a new one every couple months, a new one every month? What are we looking at? Like
the current goal is to do a new one every month, at least in the short term, just because I want to make sure that players are given a wide variety of them to use. Once we sort of have a lot of them in players' hands, we might tone that down to once every 2 months. But for now, once monthly in the event store is where they'll be.
Okay. So yeah, if you're liking these, you should look forward to a new one every month for a while, for a little bit, and just see which ones are going to give you kind of some cool ideas for customizing your base and your defenses. That's pretty cool.
And also along those lines, if you guys have specific contractors that you're wanting to see, like maybe you really want, I don't know, one that offers you the ability to have more space for Go-Go Bar test battles or something like that, whatever it is, let us know, and if we can make it work, we can try to make it.
Yeah.
And if not, we can figure out why it won't work. So please let us know what you guys want as well, because there's lots of room for future contractors.
And that's a great time to plug that in the Discord, we actually have a new method of suggestions. So you can submit your idea in Discord, and then the community actually gets to vote on it. Now, just because something gets a lot of high votes doesn't mean we're necessarily going to be able to do it. There'll be technical reasons why we might not be able to do it, design reasons why we might not be able to do it. But it'll give a chance to let your voice be heard if you have an idea. Other people can kind of piggyback on it and say, yeah, I like that idea, or no, I don't like that idea. So yeah, check that out on our Discord. Plug over. All right. We did a round of stat compressions and rebalancing with CC20. So this is where it's going to get potentially controversial because we do know that um, there were some issues, obviously, but we have to do these stat compressions every once in a while because the numbers can get so inflated that it can actually affect the performance of the game. So we do, periodically need to compress the stat numbers down. With this, and we're going to talk about some of the issues that happened with the stat compression in a little bit. But before we get into that, let's talk about what was the idea behind the stat compression? Because it wasn't just stat compression. We also rebalanced some of the heroes and legendary units. What was kind of the thought process from a design standpoint on going into the stat compression?
That's a great question. First of all, I want to apologize to a lot of the players who felt that we weren't as transparent as we could have been with this. That's obviously my fault, so I apologize for that. It wasn't anyone going into it wanting to deceive anyone, but we just wanted to make sure that things were done in a timely manner, and we maybe didn't spend as much time as we should have on that. The idea behind it, obviously, was that we wanted to decrease some of the more ludicrous numbers in the game. Obviously, we have some of the damage and health numbers. They were getting a bit crazy, and so we wanted to decrease them. As with the last stat compression, we can't simply divide everything by the same number because then we would have a lot of early units having 1 health and 1 DPS, and the first 100 200 units, they'd all have exactly the same health because they can't get compressed anymore.
Right.
They're at minimum. So
something that came out 5 years ago is going to be as powerful as something that came out at the beginning of the game.
Exactly. And so because of that, we have to sort of have a scaling dividing amount. One of the issues that we ran into, just due to unfortunately, I guess, being a bit rushed, was that dividing amount was set poorly in some places, and that's on me. So we had to readjust that. But in terms of heroes, in terms of legendary units, while we wanted to have everything be compressed evenly, we also noticed that there are some ecosystems in the game and some things in the game that players I have found interesting. For example, I find heroes really interesting, and I would like heroes to be used more often. So we tried to keep more heroes meta relevant, and so we didn't decrease them as much as we decreased other things. Same goes for legendary units and some defensive units. We didn't decrease those as much so that there are more PvP units and more defensive units in the viable pool for players to use. Now, due to a combination of that and over compressing certain things and under compressing certain things, it led to some older units becoming extremely powerful and some newer units becoming too squished. And so, luckily, our players were very vocal about that, and not in a bad way, in a way that helped us a lot because they were able to tell us what the issues were. And with a few rounds of tuning, we were able to get things mostly fixed. Obviously, there are going to be outliers, and there's going to be things that aren't quite perfect. And we sort of knew that going into it. It would have taken months to reevaluate every single unit and make it perfect. So there's going to be issues, and we really appreciate when players let us know because it allows us to prioritize those and fix them.
Yeah. Well, this is the perfect, I don't know if you planned it this way, but this is the perfect segue into my next question because, there's no change. Whenever you're doing a mass change in anything, not just video games, but, city planning, any kind of thing that it requires major projects, there's always going to be things that accidentally get looked over or mistakes that get made just because you're dealing with so much stuff. And, when these stat compressions happen, you're dealing with, hundreds of units that have been made, thousands of pieces of tech, and how those pieces of tech can affect one stat and something crazy. That mistakes are likely to happen, and so as you were saying, we definitely want to thank the players for letting us know when some of these things happen. Anything that you found that is just kind of crazy, you can pretty much assume right away was unintentional. That something working drastically how it should not was certainly not our intention, and letting us know that helps us find those things and fixes them as quickly as we can. So what are some things that we've already fixed a bunch over the last couple of months with different releases, but what are some things that we're still looking into that haven't been able to get addressed yet?
So we're obviously wanting to continually optimize the game, whether that's new units being added or old units being adjusted. There are a few things that I'm aware of right now of some older units having certain abilities that are overpowered, and those are hopefully being rectified in the next release.
Yeah, Mantor specifically, I know is one that the players have called out a lot for the damage that the cloud does and how it's been traveling across the base. So those are both things that are being looked into. I can assure you guys of that.
Yeah, and the way that we choose to fix it, obviously we're going to give it a shot and see how it goes. But if we give it an attempt to fix it, and for some reason it's still not the way that we think it should be, or you guys don't think it's the way it should be, we would love feedback on that as well too, because obviously we can do as much internal testing as we want to, but the people whose voices really matter are the players. And so I'm extremely thankful for any player who's been able to let us know when content is unbalanced, especially when they're able to, put it on Discord and say, hey, here's what the problem is, here's why it's a problem. And if they're able to explain that, clearly in Discord, it's perfect because we're able to see the issue and understand why it's an issue as well. So the more of that happening, the better. And I couldn't be more thankful for that.
Yeah, one other thing too that we've been trying to figure out and get fixed for the last few weeks has been the rebalancing of the resource bases. We certainly are aware that they're not paying out what they should. There's some discrepancies kind of going on from what you see with the scouting. That is something that I also want to assure players is being looked into. We actually have 2 engineers looking at it because it does seem to be some weird calculation issue that is outside the scope of what designers can fix. So we have to get people to kind of open up the hood and see what's going on there because it's acting very weird. So those will hopefully, no promises, hopefully be fixed with the next release. That's the goal. Obviously, you'll want to check out the release notes when I post them to get a full list of what has, in fact, been fixed with the upcoming release. All right. Well, it's the most wonderful time of the year in War Commander. October is just about every player's favorite month because we usually do the Halloween kind of zombie events with the really cool, like, unique units that have been just kind of insane, whether it be Bub or any of the others. So yeah, we have, of course, another spooky season coming up. So what can you tell us about Dr. Aegon and Dr. Ake, which will be 2 of our new unique units that are coming up?
Absolutely. So it's been a long goal of mine to somehow introduce dragons into War Commander, obviously. And obviously we're doing it in a War Commander way where we're not just literally adding dinosaur-looking dragons, but we're having some sort of science and tech behind them. I'm very excited for them. One of them will be a ground-based dragon, and one of them will be a flying dragon. One of them will be released in Holdouts, and one of them will be released in Skirmish. but I am extremely excited. We're testing out a few different things with them. One of them is some new types of tech. I can't speak too much into that yet, but it should be a fun little system for players if it works the way I think it should. So look forward to that. But yeah, we wanted to get away from having just zombies over and over again. Zombies are great. I love zombies. But similarly to how Gravedigger and Nox produced essentially ghosts, we wanted to look into other spooky monster type things to add. And so we thought that dragons were the next thing. So that's where we went. As for what we do next year, if there's any specific spooky monsters you guys want to see, let us know. If we have, we'll use it as inspiration if we find it interesting. So,
I mean, I see you guys passed over my A-Team parody idea, which just breaks my heart. Of the A-Team, a zombified A-Team van that has a whole crew of people. But I'll forgive you for maybe next year. If anybody likes my A-Team zombie idea, go ahead and put that in the suggestions in Discord. And,
yeah, we'll make the Grave Team next year.
Yeah, the Grave Team. Gosh, that's so great. Anyways, so yeah, we have dragons coming up, and no Dr. Ake, which looks like Drake, because Drake is a dragon. No, it's not named after me. I have a unit that is in the game that is named after me, but good luck finding it, figuring out which one it is. Ha ha ha. And young Russell has a unit in the game named after him as well. Which one could it be? That could be an interesting trivia question or contest for the future. Which ones are based on various people? Because some units in the game are based on actual people here at the company, either current or throughout the various history of the game, and some of them aren't. So which ones are the real ones? Which ones are the fake ones? These are the questions that I need you guys to ask, the hard-hitting questions. So let's close this up over here, young Russell. Is there anything that you are looking for from our player base? Because we got this new feedback system happening. We got a new bug report system going on over in Discord, so we can make sure that things get communicated as clearly as possible, and we have a better feedback with the community on what's getting fixed and what's changing. What do you think as a designer is going to help you the most from the community?
Well, as we approach the end of the year, which I know it's only October, but we're getting close to it. As we approach it, we obviously look into next year and we sort of figure out what we want to do for tentpole things, for small things, for changes, for upgrades. And there's a lot of things that we can do. There's a lot of roads that we can go down. And obviously, I know what I like in games, and I can reach out to the other designers and ask what they like. But I would also like to hear from the players what they like. What sort of things do they enjoy most about the game? What sort of things drive them crazy and wish they were changed? What sort of things would you like to see from the game? All of these different things, as put as feedback in Discord, would be fantastic, because it lets us know that either we're going on the right track or we're completely off base and we've been going in the wrong direction. So we would love to hear back from you guys. Obviously, we can't do everything. We can't implement everything, but we would like to do as much as we can to keep this game being the fun war commander that you like to play.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important thing to bring up, because we make this game from a content point of view. We make it for you guys. We want you guys to have a lot of fun with the units, with the art, with the design of them, with the PvP systems. And obviously there are technical restrictions to some ideas, and there are design restrictions to some ideas, but we want to be able to, take what you guys like or don't like and incorporate it into the future. I mean, a lot of those ideas end up getting put into a command center update. So you may see that some similarities to ideas that you guys have suggested have shown up in newer things for your command center. over the years and things like that. So we do try to, make sure we factor that in. But this ultimately is, a game for you guys to play and have fun. So we want to hear what your ideas are and do what we can to incorporate those as best we can. Well, anything else you want to add to this, young Russell?
Only that I want to thank everyone for continuing to play the game, hopefully continuing to enjoy the game, and I'm looking forward to a long road ahead of improvements and cool new fun units and things.
Well, I know that you already have the storyline pretty much planned out for like the next 2 years or something along that line. So you definitely have a lot of ideas for things. So there's no shortage of or no sense that we're stopping anytime soon with anything. So
Absolutely not. I'm having too much fun.
yeah. Well, as I mentioned, if you're not a member of our Discord, you'll find a link underneath the video for our Discord link as well as our social medias. So follow those so you can make sure you get any updates about the game. Take part in any of the contests. I mean, we're just giving gold and upgrade logistics away people. Like, I think I've given in the last 3 months like a total of like 1,000 gold away. I think I've given like over 100 logistics away in the last couple months. So come on to the Discord, take part in the trivia contest and the monthly contests and be an all around good neighbor in the community, and maybe you'll get Player of the Month. Who knows? But we have a lot of fun, and we have even more planned that we're going to be doing over the next few months in there to get the community kind of more involved with a lot of things. So thank you guys for being as awesome as you've always been. And yeah, if we don't do this monthly, we'll at least do this quarterly. So this might be the only one for the rest of the year, but you will get one of these Drake's Dungeons, every couple months at the minimum, moving forward. So yeah. Well, young Russell, I'd like to thank you again for your time. I know you're very busy, incredibly busy with not just designing the game, but also figuring out all the story content and then wrangling all the other designers together to do everything. So I know you're a busy person, so I appreciate your time, and I know the players do as well.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right. Well, hey, everybody. Have fun out there in War Commander Land, and we will talk to you soon.